Dear Roberta, it's my great pleasure to welcome you again here in Tallinn, especially when we are heading to the European Parliament elections. And knowing this work very well, what we have done together and the great work that you are doing now in the European Parliament, I think it's very important to raise the awareness and participation in the European Parliament elections. So I really appreciate your efforts in doing this. Brave Ukrainians prove us every day that freedom, the choose your future is worth fighting for. At the same time, people living under authoritarian regimes often tend to emphasize that they are far from politics. They don't really care about politics. However, quoting Pericles, just because you don't take an interest in politics, it doesn't mean that politics wouldn't take interest in you. Luckily, EU citizens are interested. Over two-thirds, 70%, believe that the EU has an impact on their lives, and more than half, 57%, are interested in the European Parliament elections. In order for them to cast their vote, we need to show that their worries are also European worries. In recent years, the European Union has proven its ability to quickly respond to challenges, be it COVID pandemic or Russian aggression against Ukraine. We have provided COVID vaccines to our population. We found ways and funds to modernize our economy and energy sector. The EU is delivering to its citizens some of the highest living standards and the lowest level of income inequality in the world. We must also communicate these positive effects to our people. We have maintained our unity and provided military and economic aid to Ukraine, and by deciding to start the EU accession negotiations with Ukraine, we have also given Ukrainians crucial hope for the prosperous and secure future in the European family. I'm thankful to the European Parliament and to you personally, Roberta, for your strong support to Ukraine. Important challenges lie ahead. It is necessary to deliver to our people not only hope in the better future, but also tangible benefits, including security. In Estonia, after 20 years in the European Union, support for the European Union membership has risen even more since 2002 and continues to be very, very strong. Many of our people see a sense of security as the key reason for European membership. The best way to secure our common future is to support Ukraine towards victory. And we all have to do more to strengthen our own defense, to free ourselves from harmful dependencies, be it in energy, technologies, or anything else, and to create secure connections to friends. The aim of Russia's shadow war against our democratic societies is to spread disinformation, create distrust, deter us from supporting Ukraine, and influence democratic decision-making processes. The best vaccine against such threats is to speak openly about them and remember when we make our choices. So thank you again for coming and looking forward to your speech in Parliament.
Thank you very much, Kaja. Good afternoon, tere päevast, and thank you for your very kind words. I'm delighted to be here in beautiful Tallinn in this special year, as we will celebrate, as Kaja just said, 20 years of Estonia's membership in the European Union. I know very well the huge and positive transformation that EU membership has brought here in Estonia and all the other countries that joined in 2004, and also how Estonia helped change the face and center of gravity of Europe. I am currently in the process of visiting EU member states in order to increase awareness about the European elections and to encourage people, particularly young people, to vote. I'm here to explain our achievements, to be honest, where we can do better, and to emphasize that politics remains the best force for change in our communities. But I am mainly here to listen to the concerns and expectations of Estonian citizens. After the 9th of June, there will be 720 members of the European Parliament coming to Brussels, 7 from Estonia. Who those people are and what they stand for is in your hands. They will shape policies and adopt legislation that affect all of Estonia and Europe. And it is up to you to choose, to vote. At the last European elections, only 37% of Estonians went to the ballot box. I hope this time more Estonians will make their voice heard. And this is particularly important at a time when war has returned to our continent and democracy is increasingly under threat. My message is: do not let anyone else decide for you and do not take Europe for granted. In our discussions with Kaja today, we also spoke quite a lot about Ukraine and about the need to boost Europe's strategic autonomy, about the need for us to remain united and stand firmly against Russia's aggression. Prime Minister Kallas and Estonia have been outstanding in supporting Ukraine. In per capita terms, better than most, if not all. This has really resonated across Europe and well beyond, and your commitment, also your personal commitment, Kaja, has inspired us all. We spoke about improving EU security, the needed investments in our defense industry, and about finding ways to use Russia's frozen assets for Ukraine. This remains our #1 priority, and I am confident that this will also be the case after the elections in June. Last word, I want to thank the Prime Minister again and the people of Estonia for your leadership, for your unshakable steadfastness, and for proving that there is no old and there's no new Europe, no big and no small states around the EU table. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have time for a couple of questions. Please ask your question in English. And first question from Herman Kalomees, Delfi, please.
Good afternoon. President Metsola, your friend the Prime Minister has a big proposal on her table. Some influential European liberals want her to become their Spitzenkandidat. So I'm wondering what advice you would give her, and would she make a good High Representative for foreign policy and security? And Prime Minister Kallas, your comments, which way are you leaning regarding this offer?
Do I go first, Kaja?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm listening carefully, taking notes.
Take note. So, first of all, it's very early days in the process. As you will understand, all political parties are currently going through their separate processes as to who will front their election campaign, as is usually the case in the days, weeks and months running up to the European elections. What I can say is that the Prime Minister is doing a remarkable job for Estonians and for Europeans, and she can always count on my support.
Well, this is, I think, a great honor, not for me, but also for Estonia, because we are a small country and we have been recognized also in the liberal family. And yes, it is true that I've been talked to regarding this, that I could energize the liberal campaign. Whether to do this or not, I haven't really decided yet, because I'm the Prime Minister of Estonia, and there is no possibility for liberals to actually be the European Commission President. So if I would support the liberals, then only to support the liberals, not to be the real contender for the European Commission President.
Next question, please. Estonian television, Eppehan.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I have two questions, if I may, to both of you. How would you comment the saying of frontrunner of US president elections, Donald Trump, that he would encourage Russia, for example, to attack some NATO ally who doesn't pay enough? And should we put more emphasis on defense to be able to protect ourselves on its own, ourselves? And second question, the elections for EU Parliament will take place in June, and maybe a new president of the Commission will be nominated in Parliament, voted in Parliament only in September, and Commission starts maybe in December. So it will be a very long period. Don't you think it's a long wait period, and also during the time of elections in the United States? Thank you very much.
So for your question, I would very quickly say that we need to spend more on defense. This is something actually that Prime Minister Kallas has been saying ever since the Russian illegal invasion of Ukraine on the 24th of February 2022. And as we reach that very grim second anniversary, we realize where we have succeeded in terms of having unprecedented unity, packages of sanctions that I would never have thought possible to be adopted by all 27 European Union member states, unprecedented speed within which a candidate country becomes a candidate country, and accession negotiations are started as we took the decision in December. Where do we still need to do more? Individual countries' defense spending, and sending the most clear of messages, irrespective of who will lead the next American administration after this jumbo 2024 year of democratic processes, is that we are strong enough to be able to defend each other, and that any statement of that sort needs to be recognized with the danger that it brings, but also a steadfastness on our regard that we need to do more, just in case we really need to be alone. In terms of timing, decision was taken for the election of the European Parliament by majority in the Parliament and in the European Council to be held in the second weekend of June. It is the limit, in fact, and I have brought this date to the European Council in order also for us to reflect. This is a decades-old rule, actually since 1979, that's the last possible date. The last time this happened was in 2009, and there the election of the President of the Commission, the re-election in that case as well, was in September. The treaties are very strict in terms of calendar as to when the European Parliament will be constituted, when the different individual committees are appointed. It will not be an easy parliament to constitute after June, looking at potential polling data from individual countries. So we will have to see the situation which we find ourselves in and the timing. In terms of speed, if we look at the trend, or at least the tradition, to have the Commission in place by November, in some cases it happened. In some cases it didn't, even if all the elections had taken place in July. What I can tell you is that the Parliament has undergone an extremely rigorous process of reform, and it is with that reform that will allow us to act with speed whenever nominees are brought to us, and the decisions that are taken, which is where they are taken, in the House of Democracy in the European Parliament.
Well, to add to that, I think we have been advocating for doing more in defense, and that means that all the NATO's members do more in defense. They invest more in defense to boost the defense industry in order to be stronger together. So I think it still is the plea for everybody to do more. And I think what the presidential candidate in America says is also something to maybe wake up some of the allies who haven't done that much. So hopefully we all do more, and collectively we are stronger together. Of course, elections are always turbulent times. That always means there is a bit of chaos, and there's also will of the malign actors to use this time. But I must say that at least in NATO we don't have elections, which is good, and European Parliament elections does not really affect that. So I think that we are strong in NATO, in our defense, in our defensive plans that we have ready, and that doesn't really depend on any elections of our democratic allies. Thank you.
Do we have time for one more question, if anybody is interested? It seems that no more questions. Thank you, Prime Minister, President. Thank you for your attention. Our press conference is over.
Thank you.
Thank you.